Well, we're joined this morning by Howard Johnson Jr. He's the CEO of Howard Johnson Realty Limited, and I should tell you that Howard Johnson Realty Limited they are our sponsors of Real Estate Today, and we thank them so kindly. Howard is on the telephone, I suspect, and the pet is not beside you, Howard.
No, they're both outside.
They're outside. You haven't posted up anything recently with your playing with your pet in your yard space, though. What's up with that?
Yeah, I'll soon be hitting you up with some more photos.
Yes. Looking forward. Yeah, welcome once again, Howard.
Thank you.
Now, we have a veterinarian, Dr. Briana Schwapp, who has joined us. We say good morning and welcome, Doc.
Hello.
How are you?
Good morning. I'm good, thank you.
All right. This is your comfort zone, talking about pets and stuff like that, I'm sure. We're really happy to have you. I'm going to start with you, Doc. What are some of the common household injuries that have brought pets to your office?
We see a lot of dogs. This is not really within the household, but we see a lot of dogs and cats and other animals hit by cars. So that's one of the most common injuries that we see, along with things like toxin ingestion, so they get into chemicals or cleaning products or paint or medicine or food that they shouldn't have. We also see a lot of trauma, meaning like crushing injuries, get crushed behind a door, falling from a height, as well as dog bites. Unfortunately, we see a lot of animals with dog bites.
Really? Okay.
Yep.
We know that animals can be a bit noisy. So I wanted to ask you, Doc, how can pet owners limit this in respect of their neighbors who might very well complain?
So you want to be mindful of the space that you're in when you're going to get a pet. There are animals that are going to create more noise than others. For example, if you're in an apartment building and you have thin walls, you want a bird. Don't get a parrot. They're extremely loud. Get like a budgie. You need to be mindful of the type of animal you're bringing into the space that you have. That being said, it's very important to do research on dog breeds before you bring them into your space. If you're in a small space, do not get a husky. Huskies are known for vocalizing all day long.
Okay.
Those things are super important. But, it's doing research, as well as just training and socialization. You need to learn to train this animal to be comfortable by itself. You need to train it on when to bark, when not to bark. We have dogs for security here very commonly, but you still want these animals to be trained and socialized well so that they're not stressed out when they're by themselves or just making noise for the sake of it. All these things are possible. It just takes some patience and some time.
Thank you so much, Doc. Howie, if one is living, say, on an apartment complex, and they're contemplating getting a pet, I think one of the first things they want to be doing is to make sure that pets are allowed, eh?
That is for sure. You have to ensure that your bylaw speaks to the allowance of pets, and some persons may think that means dogs, because pets are not always just dogs. There are cats, there are birds, etc. And many bylaws, by default, it states no pets. But then there are some that will allow pets, and you have to understand the variance. They may say small dogs that are kept within the apartment space and not venturing out. Or if they do, you have to clean up behind them. They may give you size limits. They may give you the breed, as Dr. Schwapp mentioned earlier. They may give you conditions as to what types of pets are allowed in the complex. But you must always remember the responsibility you have of ensuring that you follow those bylaws and that you clean up while they're on the outside, while you're sharing spaces with your neighbors.
So as it relates to the homeowner, how should they really prepare the yard space for an outdoor pet? What do you suggest?
Well, in my opinion, I think you should have good ventilation, good secure your access points so that they don't venture out, and then you have to put up all these stickers on the light posts to say missing pets or whatever the case is. So make sure that they're locked away properly or stored away properly. But I found it, especially with my dogs, as I mentioned earlier, that you need them to see on the outside, because if they're so boxed in at times, they're very inquisitive and they'll try to find their way out or find avenues where they can see on the outside or, react to something that they're hearing on the outside. So you want them to have a good visual of their inside, but yet still having some sort of visual on the outside. And it has to be a secured space that they're not going to find routes to escape. And I have to take this opportunity to make mention of the recently passed act re the dogs, and that's why I'm mentioning and stressing the fact that the yard needs to be secured.
Mm-hmm. I want to go to the inside now, and I'm going to ask Dr. Schwapp if she could give us a tip or two on how homeowners could create a designated area for pets indoors.
My number one tip for having pets indoors, with regards to dogs and cats, of course, is to have a crate and to crate train the animals from it's very, very young. So get one of those crates that you can open the front and get them comfortable in the crate, let it be their home, their safe space, train them to go in there when you're not around, when you're not supervising them, when you're not home, when you're cleaning, when children are over. It's one of the best things you can do for yourself. As long as the crate, or even the kennel outside, as long as the crate or the kennel is large enough for the animal to get up and turn around and lay down, it's a really excellent tool to have. That being said, you should also have boundaries within your home, especially if you have a young animal coming into the house. You don't want them to be roaming around the house all day. That is how accidents happen. And furthermore, for their safety, for their health, because we don't like puppies roaming until they've gotten all their shots anyways. So you can gradually introduce that puppy or that kitten to your environment slowly so that they understand boundaries and they learn how to respect your space. So get little, people like to use baby gates. They like to keep the animal on like the patio in a certain area, in a corner of the living room, wherever it's comfortable for you. But always start out young animals in their own area. Keep it very clean and just ensure that they're safe in that space, especially when you're not around. I really recommend that it's ventilated and it's comfortable for them to use the bathroom, of course, because if you're not going to be home, they're going to have to go in that area.
Right. Thank you for that. Howie, give us some idea as to what homeowners should consider when it comes to home interior decor before they actually go out and get a pet.
Well, first of all, make sure you identify those precious items that you would not want to have damaged because a lot of persons, they put up these monumental stuff, these things that they get from their recent travels, and they go out to work the first day and they come back and it's shattered. So you want to make sure that some of these prized possessions are out of the way when you're doing your decor, not easily accessed by cats, dogs, whatever you name it. Then they're not going to be damaged. And a lot of glassware, you want to make sure that you're not putting them too flat on the ground, where just by accident, not deliberate, just by accident, the dogs are going to bounce it or the pet is going to bounce it. So you want to make sure that some of those precious items are out of the way, and it can also cause damage because when they're broken, the pets may step on a splinter, and then you have a bigger problem on your hand. So we want to make sure that those things are stored away properly, and that you can live with the things that may damage, and you can replace them easily if it is that you so desire to put those things out. A lot of rubbery items could be useful because once they grab a hold of something like that, they may be attracted to that and play with it, and will be distracted from other prized possessions that are in your home. So you want to give them something, they put in the decoration something that they can appreciate. When you come into your living room, you're looking for books and you're looking for this and looking for that. When they come into a space, let them see something that they can be attracted to and be, in a space of enjoying that item that you would have used as decoration. So those are just a few things that come readily to mind.
All right. What comes to mind right now is a question I want to ask Dr. Schwapp. The whole matter of preventing harm, to the animal by the neighbors and so on. How does one ensure that doesn't happen?
Well, that's how we mentioned before. We have this law in place, and excellent fencing applies to having any animal in your yard, whether it's dogs, cats, which climb, but dogs and cats, goats, chickens, whatever it is. You need to have proper fencing that is of the adequate height for the species that you have. If you have a dog that climbs, you need to make sure you're proactive about it and you raise that fence. So one of the most important things to protect your neighbors is going to be that fencing. Check it for holes regularly. Make sure that you're not neglecting the fact that the dog has now dug a hole under the fence. You need to be super careful about that. Another thing to make sure is just to train the animals. You can have protection dogs that are safe in most situations. If they're out of their space, they should not be attacking people for no reason. It's your responsibility as a pet owner to train your animals. There's really no excuse for it anymore. You understand that animals have to be well socialized. They need to be trained properly. And we don't need to have any dangerous dogs, and we don't need to have anybody else getting hurt. So that's a major responsibility of a dog owner in particular.
Do you find that dogs are the most popular pets that are here in Jamaica?
It's really hard to say because I see such different clientele. I see people with horses. I see people with a lot of dogs. I see people with cats. I see people with goats, birds. So it's really hard for me to tell, but I want to say yes. They are the most common, but I could be wrong.
I didn't tell you, Doc, about the experience I had when I went into a store in Florida years ago and was shopping. It's a clothing store. And whilst I moved some shirts off a hanger, what faced me was a Dalmatian about half my...
Oh, wow. One of my favorites. But you know, the funny thing is...
Somebody said the name, take away yourself.
I talked about Dalmatians the other day because they became such a popular pet after the movie. And people quickly realized that they're actually very difficult dogs to have and they're not appropriate for children, usually. So it's kind of interesting.
It's just that at that time I felt it wasn't even appropriate for adults. It's the closest I came to having a heart attack, though, Doc. I must tell you that. Anyhow, it didn't happen, thankfully. I want to share a tip, Howie. My tip today is consider creating a designated area for your pets. This helps to prevent damage to your furniture and other assets that you may own. Your pet is a part of your family, and like every other family member, deserves a space it can call its own. Now it's time for the Deal on the Edge. And Howie's got it.
Yes, sir. Make your home this 2-bedroom home, 1-bathroom house in a quiet, family-oriented community of Caribbean estates. That's in Greater Portmore, St. Catherine. Enjoy secured and comfortable living in this 1,100 square foot rental property today. We're asking you to contact Sybil Harvey, 876-382-9930, and the unit number is, the price is $90,000 per month. $90,000 per month for this 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom house in Caribbean Estates. Sybil Harvey, 876-382-9930.
All right. Thank you very much. I think we unfortunately lost Dr. Schwapp, but we'd like to thank her for her input this morning. In closing, where can you be found, Howie?
Yes, you can contact us at unit number 15, Ligony Post Mall. That's 115 Hope Road. You can call our offices at 876-620-147 or just visit our website, hjrealtors.com.
Thank you. Enjoy this program. Enjoy your day. Talk to you later.
Yes, sir. I see you outside with your new vehicle.
Yes, sir. Coming to a town or a city near you soon.
All right.
Look out for us. Take care, Howie. I appreciate that.